Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a little girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was known for her rosy cheeks and her vibrant red hood, which she wore all the time. One day, her mother gave her a beautiful basket filled with freshly baked treats, cookies, and a bottle of wine, and asked her to deliver it to her sick grandmother who lived on the other side of the forest. Little Red Riding Hood eagerly accepted the task and skipped happily into the woods. Her mother warned her not to stray from the path and to be cautious of strangers, as the forest was known to have dangerous creatures lurking about. As she walked through the forest, enjoying the sights and sounds of nature, Little Red Riding Hood came across a friendly wolf. The wolf, hoping to trick her, spoke with a gentle voice, "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood. Where are you off to?" Little Red Riding Hood, unaware of the wolf's true intentions, replied cheerfully, "I'm going to my grandmother's house, Mr. Wolf. She's not feeling well, so I'm bringing her some treats." The wolf, pretending to be kind, suggested, "Why don't you take the scenic route? It's much more beautiful and enjoyable than the usual path." Little Red Riding Hood considered the wolf's suggestion. However, remembering her mother's warning, she politely declined and said, "Thank you, Mr. Wolf, but I must stay on the path. My mother told me it's important to be careful." Disappointed, the wolf bid her farewell and ran ahead of Little Red Riding Hood. He planned to reach the grandmother's house before she did. Meanwhile, Little Red Riding Hood continued her journey, singing songs and picking flowers along the way. Unbeknownst to her, the wolf arrived at her grandmother's house and knocked on the door. The unsuspecting grandmother, thinking it was Little Red Riding Hood, called out, "Come in, my dear." The wolf, imitating Little Red Riding Hood's voice, said, "Grandma, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you some treats." Upon entering, the wolf quickly devoured the poor grandmother and put on her clothes, disguising himself. Moments later, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at her grandmother's house. She knocked on the door and called out, "Grandma, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you some treats." Unaware of the wolf's deceit, Little Red Riding Hood entered the house. She immediately noticed something strange. "Grandma, what big ears you have," she said, puzzled. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," replied the wolf, trying to sound like her grandmother. Confused, Little Red Riding Hood continued, "Grandma, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf, growing impatient. Finally, Little Red Riding Hood, sensing something was very wrong, exclaimed, "Grandma, what big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with," the wolf roared, revealing his true intention. With a sudden burst of bravery, Little Red Riding Hood quickly grabbed a nearby broom and began to swing it at the wolf, screaming for help. Just in the nick of time, a woodcutter passing by heard her cries and rushed in to save her. The woodcutter chased the wolf away, ensuring Little Red Riding Hood's safety. They then discovered the poor grandmother locked up in the cupboard. From that day forward, Little Red Riding Hood learned to be cautious of strangers, always stay on the path, and never trust someone who seemed suspicious. And the woodcutter became a beloved figure in the village for his bravery and quick thinking. And they all lived happily ever after.